Welcome to Uxbridge Scugog Life. I'm your host, Jackie Hermans. It is National Volunteer Week. And if you are interested in being a volunteer for Rogers TV, we have lots of opportunities, whether you want to be on a mobile unit, going out to different events, maybe you like going to Oshawa Generals games, maybe you want to work in the studio, learn how to do some camera work, editing, lighting, things like that. Maybe you want to host your own show. So if you are interested in something like that, you can go to the Rogers TV website and look under volunteer opportunities. Now today on the show, we are talking about different types of volunteer opportunities. Lakeridge Health is going to be on the show talking about 5 different hospitals and the different volunteer opportunities with them. We also have Scugog Fire. You can become a volunteer firefighter. And DRPS will also be on the show. They have a youth or Suits for Youth event that is coming up that is fully run by volunteers. And it's a wonderful opportunity to make sure that teens out there have an opportunity to be able to go to prom, to be able to go to job interviews because they have a suit that they can wear, and it is gender neutral. So you can find out about all that and more. Just keep on watching Uxbridge Scugog Life. We will be right back.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
I'm Eric Marchinosa's Cinema Scene in Review. Join me for a monthly movie roundup of new releases either in theaters or available to stream. See you next time in Review.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So this is our volunteers special, and we're talking to different guests about volunteer opportunities. So from Lakeridge Health, we have Helena Finn Vickers.
Yes.
Correct? And she's the manager of volunteer resources for Lakeridge Health. And then we also have a wonderful volunteer with us. So we have Ruth Spearing, who is the volunteer president of the auxiliary for the Port Perry Hospital. Yes. Okay, so we have lots we can talk about.
We do.
So first of all, I understand you have volunteer opportunities for Lakeridge Health, spanning across 5 hospitals, correct?
We support 5 hospitals in the Durham region and Lakeridge Gardens, which is the new long-term care facility in Ajax. So yes, there are multiple volunteer opportunities across Durham region for people interested in healthcare opportunities.
Okay, beautiful. Now, what is the age span that you accept for volunteers? Does it depend on the department that you're working in? Does it depend on the position?
Sometimes.
Okay.
So traditionally, we've had a high school student program, then a college university program, and an adult program. And what I like to say is we don't have an age limit for our volunteers. Absolutely not. Okay. Right now, we are rebuilding our volunteer program through a very interesting period of the pandemic. And our high school program remains on hold. But our college and university and adult program are a going concern.
Okay. Now, when I think about a hospital, I think about for what comes to mind is candy stripers. But so what, can you give me some examples of volunteer opportunities that are available?
Absolutely. So a big part of what volunteers do at Lakeridge Health is focusing on the experience of people coming in and out of our facilities. Okay. So we have volunteers in our lobbies, which is a lot about wayfinding. I like to say some wheelchair hunting, right? Providing the resources people need when they come in, being that friendly face when people arrive, helping them get to where they're going within the hospital. That's a huge part of what volunteers can do. Then many programs utilize volunteers in their waiting rooms, supporting the flow of patients coming in and out. That happens at the Port Perry Hospital as well in day surgery. We have volunteers in our cancer center. We have many volunteers involved in retail activities. So, and Ruth will probably speak to that, but the opportunity to support gift shops and some other retail spaces and other activities that the hospital auxiliary volunteers are raising money for hospital equipment. So volunteers are all over our facilities. Again, we're rebuilding through this period of the pandemic. I'm very excited. In a very short time, I'll be able to announce the volunteer hours of service for 2022-2023. It's pretty incredible, the growth and support of our communities to our hospitals. And volunteer resources as a department supports bringing in volunteers. We're human resources for volunteers. That's how I like to explain what we do. And so the whole onboarding process for people who are interested in volunteering, we support the screening, orientation, training of volunteers, and then we hand our volunteers into the hospital, into a department, and they become part of that department's volunteer team, which is pretty exciting.
Beautiful. Now, when you're trying to match a volunteer to a volunteer opportunity, are you looking at all the different skills that they have, the different interests that they have, and make recommendations? What about this department? What about this activity, this program? Yeah. I'm sure going into a hospital can be stressful on its own. So I'm sure overall you're looking for individuals that are friendly, that want to make people feel comfortable, that just have a beautiful heart to give, right?
The heart of a volunteer,
Yes.
Is there anything better?
Well, we have volunteers that are in our hospital in Port Perry, and people say to us, when we come into the hospital, we look for the volunteer right away because they know that the volunteer will help them get to wherever it is they need to go, or help them get, even if it's just a warm blanket if they're in the emergency department, maybe a teddy bear to hug if they've got a little kid with them. Yeah, things like that. Something to do. So they look to the volunteers. And the volunteers are very important, I believe, to the patients that are coming in.
Oh, I would think so, because the hustle and bustle of a hospital, everything that goes on within a hospital can be high stress.
Absolutely.
And so having volunteers that are not mixed in the muck of it to help calm the energy as people come in and support them.
For example, I think, for example, in the emergency department, when a person comes into Lakeridge Health in the emergency department, there are kiosks, and you would check in on the kiosk. Well, people who are coming into emergency are already very stressed, and so we have volunteers there who help them, and they just help them key in whatever the information is into the kiosk. And we've had so many people say it was a godsend. They were just so pleased because at that time, they weren't thinking clearly.
Right.
They were so stressed, and the volunteer was very good with them and helped them. Get them in, get them settled, get them relaxed a little.
The emergency departments, we have 4 across Lakeridge Health, and that volunteer program is growing because it really is something that, what can the volunteers do within the environment that is appropriate for a volunteer, but is also meaningful for the volunteer? And that initial registration piece, that letting them know they're seen, that they're heard, the waiting room, the comfort measures, what a difference it makes.
Oh,
it does.
Okay, so I bet you're inspiring many people right now to think about
we
volunteering
hope
for
so.
Lakeridge Health, for Port Perry.
Yes.
So how can someone get involved? Where do they need to go?
So the Lakeridge Health website, lakeridgehealth.on.ca, how you can help section, the volunteer page. We try and keep that updated with sort of what's happening within the volunteer program. Right now, we're very fortunate. We've gone through a recruitment period where we had our application online live for about 19 days. 174 applicants.
Yay, that's incredible.
Across the
It's
organization.
wonderful.
What a great opportunity. Thank you so much for being on the show. We have to go to a commercial, so we'll be back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
Wonder what stood right behind me 150 years ago? Here in Pickering, at the northwest side of Brock and Highway 7, stood the Broome Central Hotel. Today, this historic commercial enterprise is housed here at the Pickering Museum Village. Originally a home, this two-story building became a temperance hotel in 1850.
We prepared your usual private room.
Hey, thank you. I'm sure I'll sleep soundly tonight.
It was a resting place for travelers, and for 2 shillings and 6 pence, it also served as a meeting place for local council.
Ladies, the Township Council will be meeting very soon. We should retire.
Located at the epicenter of the township, the hotel was witness to a lot of the laws and infrastructure decisions that made Pickering what it is today.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So from DRPS, from the Educational Center, we have Rui Ferreira, who is here to talk about a really exciting event. And for Volunteer Week, we thought it would be really nice to talk about this event as well, because it takes a lot of volunteers to run your Suits for Youth. So let's talk about the Suits for Youth. So it's happening on April the 25th. So basically you're helping teens out with prom, with interviews. Tell me a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so April 25th, we had to take a bit of a break from the previous couple of years as a result of the pandemic, and we're open back to business. Very excited to run it this year. April 25th, from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Oshawa Center. We'll have identified officers in the food court where members of the public can attend to get directions as to where our event's taking place at the mall.
Yeah.
Essentially, we are looking for donations from members of the public and members of our service with respect to suits, ties, shirts, pants, belts, anything that you have in your closet that's not something you're wearing but is still in great shape, or something that perhaps we've outgrown over time, that we could donate to somebody who could use it. So, you know, tough times have been coming about, and that's very expensive for kids to, or youth to get to graduations and proms with getting dressed up. Suits are very expensive. So we thought, let's start up a program that's essentially mirroring our Gowns for Girls programming. And we thought we'd open up for all youth, gender-neutral event that youth can come and get dressed up for prom or grad so that they don't have to miss out their event. And on top of that, we thought, let's do something in case somebody needs a suit for a job interview.
Right.
Reach out to us and we'll help you out.
Oh, this is, what a beautiful opportunity to, suits are expensive.
Very expensive.
Gowns are
gowns
expensive.
as well.
And going for an interview, you want to put your best side forward, and you don't want teens to not be going to a prom just simply because they can't afford to get dressed.
That's right. So grade 8 graduation as well, and high school graduation and proms. That's what we, our motto is suiting up our youth for success.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned if you have suits that you can donate, how do they contact you in order to give you those donations?
Donations can be accepted at any Durham Regional Police service station.
Okay.
The front desk members are aware. Our courier services are engaged as well. So donations can be made at any division, as well as the Oshawa Center information desk. They'll accept those there. If anyone has any questions in relation to the event or any donations, they can reach us at suitsforyouths@drps.ca. It's their website. Is our email address.
Now, are you still looking for volunteers for that particular day to assist with the process?
We tap into a lot of our internal volunteers within the service. We have some students that are from local college universities that assist us as well, that have helped us in the past. We have a lot of our membership that step up to the plate with respect to this. It takes a lot of work to get the event prepared weeks prior to get things organized. And so we tap into our internal resources that way. It's been very good. We don't like to put too much strain on members of the public as far as volunteering. Their contribution to this would be beneficial for the donation piece more so.
Okay.
So we have kids, and you know, my daughter, we have other officers' daughters and sons and children that come, and wives and husbands and partners that come and help us set up and prepare. And then on the event, it's like the show, right? And everybody shows up and we have a great old time and people get all suited up.
That's really nice. I'd like to put it out there to thank all the volunteers that are making this happen.
Yeah, it would never happen without them for sure.
Right, and for all the donations. And it's springtime. Why not get into our closets and see what's not fitting or what's tired? You just haven't been inspired to wear it anymore.
Yeah, I myself have, I think at one point I had about 10 suits in my closet. Yeah. And I don't wear, probably seven of them. So
why hold on to them?
Why hold on to them? Give them up with people who can use them. Right. And in the other hand, people who come and take a suit and they outgrow them, we welcome them back for donation again, right? So you're graduating from grade 8, you take a suit, and by grade 9 it doesn't fit you because you're still in that growth stage. Yeah. Return it back to us. When you get to your prom stage, come back and see us, and we'll hook you up again.
So obviously you're looking for all different shapes and sizes for suits because there's so many different body types and everything out there.
For sure.
And, some people are also into the, the old school style. So, the big collars and things like that. So if you have a grandparent that's no longer, or great-grandparent that's no longer using some nifty suits there, that...
Be surprised what some of the young people like to get into, for sure. They like to get funky and have fun with it. So that's even better, right? Some of the suits that we have more difficulty with are the smaller sizes. Okay. We have a lot of sizes that are typical, the 46s and up, and we have not a lot of stock of the thinner, the leaner sizes. Okay. Yeah. So you're definitely looking for that. What about shoes? Do you take donations of shoes? We do take donations of shoes. We just ask that they're obviously in good shape. In years past, we obviously go through our inventory of donations. And sometimes we go through things that we can't give someone else because it's not appropriate. They're not in great shape. So if they are in good shape or only been worn a couple of times or whatever, certainly we'll accept them. Okay. And we put them on a table, and if the youth want to grab them, great. If they don't, and they have their own shoes, sometimes they want to wear running shoes with their suit.
Right, I was just thinking that too.
It doesn't have to be a dress shoe either.
Well, thank you so much for putting on this event, and to everyone who's watching, let's get the message out there so teens know that this opportunity is going to be there for them on April the 25th, and get your donations out to the Durham Regional Police.
Thank you so much for having us. Appreciate the shout so people are aware. Yeah. It's really important.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks so much.
We'll be back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
Was that 4 or 5? He's lost count and still thinks he can drive. Do you think he knows that when he is caught and charged with impaired driving, he'll lose his license and a lot more? If he gets in his car, he'll face costs exceeding $20,000. Does he realize he could have a criminal record for his choice to drive? And it could be much worse if he crashes. Wonder what he'll be thinking tomorrow.
I'm for have a Holden one at 15.
Visit ArriveAlive.org to find out more. Arrive Alive. Drive so.
It's Volunteer Week, and at Rogers TV, we recognize our volunteers' amazing contributions. While creating compelling local programming, Rogers TV volunteers learn new skills, share their experiences, and through their actions, support each other and build friendships, all while shining a spotlight on our local community. Thank you, Rogers TV volunteers, for your continued engagement.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So we are talking about volunteer opportunities, and we have Kevin Morash here, who is a volunteer firefighter for Township of Scugog.
That's correct.
So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. Now, how long have you been a volunteer firefighter?
It's been a little over 5 years now.
Okay, and what gave you the desire to become a firefighter?
Well, I've lived in the community for over 30 years. Yeah. I had recently retired from my full-time career, and I found myself at home having a lot of spare time. So I wanted to find something to do, something in the community, something that was meaningful and was rewarding to me. Yeah. So I have a couple friends who are on the volunteer fire department, and they've been after me to join the volunteer fire department. And I thought to myself, okay, and they were hiring at the time, so I said, okay, I'll give it a try.
Do it.
I'll try it. Yeah, I've got the time, I've got the energy. So.
Do you have to have a certain fitness level to be a volunteer firefighter?
Yeah, you have to be fairly physically fit because there is a lot of lifting and carrying and a lot of physical requirements to be a volunteer firefighter.
Okay, and is there a certain radius that you need to work within so you would have an opportunity to be able to get to wherever you needed to get to?
Well, you should live within 5 to 10 minutes of the fire hall, basically. I don't think there's a set radius, but it is considered when you apply to be a volunteer.
Okay.
Because your response time is important.
Right.
You want to get to the hall as quick as you can.
So you need to be able to work close to the hall, right? Or if you're not working.
Not necessarily. You could have a full-time job anywhere. But when you're available, when you're in your downtime, you want to be able to respond to the hall in a reasonable time. You want to get the trucks rolling because it's an emergency situation. So you want to get out there and resolve the emergency.
So what type of training did you have to go through?
The training was done through the hall. First of all, there was the application process, followed by a physical type of exam. You go down to the fire college in Toronto, and just basic stuff to start with, sit-ups, push-ups, running, stuff like that. Let's see if you're physically fit enough to do the job. And then the training part of that, after you get on, you start with the basic recruit training. That'd be some classroom, as well as some hands-on. And then you go to the probationary stage of training, which is more hands-on, more classroom training. There's a lot to learn.
So classroom training in regards to what to do with certain types of fires, how you put this type of fire out, what would be your plan of attack with this one, how to work on the rig.
Yeah, all that.
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah, how to handle the tools, fire prevention, firefighting, fire safety.
Right.
Because when you volunteer, in my case, I had some experience in emergency response when I joined, but firefighting, I didn't have a lot of experience in.
Right.
So I started from the basics, and you get all the training you need to be proficient in the job. So.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you know a lot of, let's say, young volunteer firefighters that are aiming to get on full time, so they're starting on a volunteer basis to be able to make their way in?
Yes, I've known a few younger people that do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's good experience for younger people that want to become full-time firefighters.
Okay.
The training, and you get the hands-on experience from going to the calls.
Now, what have you been getting out of it? Why do you like being a volunteer firefighter?
Well, I enjoy all aspects of it. I enjoy the training. I enjoy the public ed or fire prevention, which is great because you're sharing your knowledge with the community.
Yeah.
I enjoy firefighting. I enjoy the fire safety. It's an exciting job, and it's very rewarding.
Do you get to be on the calendar as well?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm the president of our association.
Okay.
So I oversee some of the calendar production. So yes, I think if you flip to page 2, you'll see a picture of me in the calendar.
Okay, so if someone is interested in becoming a volunteer firefighter, where do they go? How do they start?
Well, usually when we're hiring, we'll advertise it that we're hiring, and it'll be on the website.
Okay.
It'll signs out front of the fire station as well. We welcome anybody that's interested to come into the station and ask questions and,
Okay.
and ask when we're hiring again.
Okay, and then they can also go to scugog.ca and look
Yes,
for the
they can.
firefighter page.
Go to Scugog Fire.
Okay,
Yes.
and then it's always posted there on when the next hiring
It'll be posted
phase
there.
is going to happen.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for keeping our community safe and giving back, not only as a way to help prevent fires, but to help families, individuals when they need that support.
Well, thank you for your support. Thanks to the community for their support.
Yeah. Well,
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, no, I appreciate you coming on the show too.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So, all the best with your continued volunteer service, and we'll be back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
When it comes to drugs, how much freedom is too much for kids? Drugs are out there. Will my teen feel free to say no around other kids? I didn't live drug-free when I was younger. Can I admit that to my kids? Drugs worry me, but how can I feel free to talk about it with my kids?
Questions about drugs and kids? Call or chat to get real-time support.
Hi, I'm Sean Lackey, and this is Sold with Sean Lackey. You should check us out if you want to find out what's going on in the world of real estate. We'll have all sorts of guests to keep you in the loop on what's going on in this wonderful world.
Hello, I'm Judith Tate, host and producer of At the Heart of Business. Join me each week as we get to know women in business and learn all about their challenges and successes. That's At the Heart of Business right here on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. I want to thank our guests for coming on the show and making sure you're aware of the wonderful volunteer opportunities that are out there. Now, something that I want to mention with Lake Ridge Health, they are looking for volunteers with their retail store. So right in Port Perry, there's a store called Camille's Closet, and they are not only looking for donations of gently used, beautiful clothing, but they're also looking for volunteers to work right within the store. You have an opportunity to meet and greet people. It's a social type of environment with beautiful clothing and an opportunity for you to give back to your community, helping Lake Ridge Health. So you can inquire about that with their volunteer program. So thank you for watching. Guess what? We'll be back next week with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Salt. Toast is burning.
Toast is not.
Every time she has a seizure, she smells something burning. Now, if we can provoke that smell by probing the surface of the brain, we'll find the source of the seizures. Mrs. Gold, do you feel anything?
I can see the most wonderful lights.
And now what do you feel?
Did you pour cold water on my hand, Dr. Penfield?